On 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, the love story of Jenny Slatin and Sumit Singh is filled with emotional highs, cultural clashes, and moments of escape, especially when they step away from everyday struggles and go on vacation. While the show doesn't always frame their trips as glamorous vacations, there have been moments, both on-screen and off, where the couple traveled within India. One of the most talked about destinations linked to them is Goa, a coastal paradise famous for beaches, palm trees, and a carefree vibe. This has been referenced through fan discussions and glimpses of their beachside life. Now, let's turn that simple fact into a creative 1,500-word story inspired by their journey. Jenny Sumit, a love that traveled to Goa. The sun had just begun its slow descent over the Arabian Sea when Jenny stepped onto the warm sands of Goa. The sky was painted in shades of gold and pink, a soft watercolor that seemed almost unreal. For a moment, she forgot everything, the tension, the arguments, the years of uncertainty, and simply breathed. "Sumit," she called softly, turning back toward the beach shack behind her. "You have to see this." Sumit emerged, adjusting his sunglasses, his familiar shy smile appearing as his eyes met hers. "Jenny," he laughed gently, "you say that every 5 minutes." "Yes," she replied, her voice warm but firm, "because every 5 minutes here feels like a miracle." And maybe it was. Escape from reality. Their life in India hadn't been easy. Living in Noida, surrounded by family expectations and cultural pressures, often felt like walking a tightrope. Every decision carried weight. Every disagreement echoed louder than it should. They had fought hard for their love against age differences, societal judgment, and even deception. Yet here, in Goa, none of that seemed to matter. The ocean didn't care about their past. The waves didn't question their future. For the first time in a long time, they weren't Jenny and Sumit from 90 Day Fiancé, they were just two people in love, standing barefoot in the sand. The beach shack. They spent their afternoons at a tiny shack by the sea. It had no name, just a faded wooden sign and a row of mismatched chairs. The owner, an elderly man with kind eyes, served them coconut water and spicy fish curry. Jenny loved the simplicity of it. "This is what I imagined," she told Sumit one afternoon, tracing circles in the sand with her toe. "When I first thought about moving to India, I didn't imagine all the drama, I imagined this." Sumit sat beside her, quieter than usual. "I wish I could have given you this from the start." Jenny looked at him, not with disappointment, but with understanding. "You gave me something else," she said. "You gave me a story worth fighting for." A sunset conversation. That evening, they walked along the shoreline, the waves brushing against their ankles. "Do you ever regret it?" Sumit asked suddenly. Jenny stopped. "Regret what?" "Everything. Me." She smiled, but there was a seriousness behind it. "If I regretted it, I wouldn't still be here." He nodded, though doubt lingered in his eyes. "You know," she continued, "people think love is supposed to be easy, but ours is real. And real love? It's messy." Sumit laughed softly. "Messy is one word for it. Complicated," she added. "Chaotic. Beautiful." He looked at her then, really looked at her, as if seeing her for the first time all over again. "Beautiful," he agreed. Finding freedom. Goa gave them something they didn't have back home: freedom. Freedom from expectations. Freedom from judgment. Freedom from the constant question of whether they belonged together. They rented a small scooter and spent their days exploring winding coastal roads. Jenny held onto Sumit tightly as they rode past colorful houses, open markets, and endless stretches of beach. At one point, they stopped at a cliff overlooking the ocean. "This," Jenny said, spreading her arms wide, "is what freedom feels like." Sumit watched her, the wind catching her hair, her laughter carried into the horizon. And in that moment, he realized something. For years, he had been afraid of his parents, of society, of making the wrong choice. But Jenny? She had never been afraid to choose him. Shadows of the past. Of course, no love story, especially theirs, could exist without shadows. One night, as they sat under a sky full of stars, the conversation turned. "What happens when we go back?" Jenny asked quietly. Sumit sighed. "Reality. Your family. Our responsibilities. The expectations." Silence stretched between them. "Do you think we can keep this feeling?" she asked. Sumit hesitated. I don't know, he admitted. Jenny nodded slowly. I don't think we can either. He looked at her, surprised. But maybe that's okay, she continued. Maybe this is just a reminder of why we started. A night to remember. On their last night in Goa, they returned to the beach. The same place where their journey in this paradise had begun. The waves were louder now, the tide higher, as if the ocean itself knew their time was coming to an end. Dance with me, Jenny said suddenly. Sumit blinked. Here? Yes, here, now. No cameras, no audience, just us. He hesitated for only a second before taking her hand. There was no music, only the rhythm of the waves. But that was enough. They moved awkwardly at first, laughing at themselves, but soon the laughter turned into something deeper, something softer. Something real. What Goa gave them. Goa didn't fix their problems. It didn't erase their past. It didn't guarantee their future. But it gave them something just as important. Perspective. It reminded them that beneath the drama, beneath the cultural clashes and family expectations, there was something simple and powerful holding them together. Love. Messy, complicated, imperfect love. The journey continues. As they packed their bags the next morning, Jenny took one last look at the ocean. Do you think we'll come back? She asked. Sumit smiled. Of course. Promise? Promise. And as they left Goa behind, they carried a piece of it with them, not in their luggage, but in their hearts. Because sometimes, a place doesn't just change your surroundings. It changes you. Final thought. Jenny and Sumit's vacation wasn't just about where they went, it was about what they found there. And in Goa, they didn't just find beaches or sunsets. They found each other all over again. If you want, I can write another creative version, more dramatic, more romantic, or even from Sumit's point of view.